Surgeons of Reddit, what's the weirdest object you've had to remove from someone's butt? ER nurse, I've seen baseballs, loads of dildos, cans of soda, vegetables. There should be a public service announcement about using dildos in the bum. It needs to have balls, or some sort of base so it doesn't get lost up there. Women's vaginal dildos don't need them, as there is only so far it will go. A doctor I worked with once told a man, "It's okay if you want to put things in your rectum, you just have to use the right things. Without a base, without a trace. If you like it, then you should put a string on it." When I worked in the ER, we had a guy come in with a 6-battery mag light stuck up Main Street. The funny part is that it was inserted bulb out and it was turned on. So we laid him down prone and the doc spread his cheeks. Then the room lit up like he just cracked open Marcellus Wallace's briefcase. I suppose the light does shine down there. Back when I was an ER tech, we had this guy come in with a full-size bottle of VO5 shampoo up his butt. Of course he said he fell on it in the shower. You could clearly see it on the x-ray. It was pretty spectacular. The best part was he knew exactly what needed to be done to get it out, suggesting that this wasn't the first time. He asked for conscious sedation and for someone to pull it out. Well, the ED doctor tried that, then tried to manually get it out with forceps, and was essentially elbow deep in this dude, but couldn't get it. He had to go to the operating room to get it taken out. I bumped into the surgeon a few days later and asked him how it went. He joked to me that after we knocked him out, I grabbed a plunger out of the bathroom and got it out that way, but then told me all he had to do was stick some suction up there till he felt it connect, and then slowly pulled it out. According to the surgeon, this guy never presented any sort of identification or insurance card, and demanded to pay his entire bill before he left. Usually takes some time for bills to get finalized. He paid it completely in cash, and then left via taxi. Bloody hell. I feel like if you're that much of a pro you could attach a string to it or something in case it happens again. Yeah, maybe getting it yanked out in the hospital is part of his kink? I suggested why not teach him about using something with a flange, or connecting a string to it? They told me there'd be too much liability, because we'd be saying it's okay to put stuff up there. It was in a very behind the times town. LOL. Guy probably didn't even know butt plugs were a thing. I'd be more interested in what non-medical people have had to help people remove from their butts. My cat swallowed dental floss and I had to pull it out of her ass. I'm not a medical professional, just a grossed out lady with a new lidded trash bin. Oh man, when our husky was little he ate one of my wife's thongs. I had to pull it out of his butt. Also cat ate cassette tape and my mom followed the little guy around pulling cassette tape out of him for a couple days until it finally passed. Not me, but a good friend I have known since 6th grade who was an emergency room doctor. Straight couple in their early 20s and they were using a vibrator on her. They switched. He said it was his first time, and they had lube everywhere and the slim 6-inch vibrator disappeared all the way up in him while it was still on. They waited and tried to get it out on their own and finally went into the ER. They were going to wait till the batteries died, but it was getting late. My buddy tried to get it out, but couldn't get it. He told the guy they might have to do surgery to get it. The guy asks my buddy if he has to go and can he call his mom and tell her. My buddy laughs and says you are 22 and you get to call your mom to tell her you have a buzzing vibrator in your ass that might be perforating your colon. Then my buddy remembers a guy he went to medical school who works in the same hospital. He has freaky long thin fingers like ET that might work. The other doctor gloves up and gets the vibrator still buzzing out of him. Just the FYI, it is really easy for this to happen, so limit the lube on your hands. Your colon gets like a suction on it and things going easy like what happened to these guys. The trick is having something with a base. Always have a nice wide base on anything inserted anally. Son of a doctor here. My dad removed an entire peeled sweet potato from someone's colon once. He swore that he had just slipped and fell on it. Maybe he was just cooking while naked. He peeled the potato, put it on the floor so he can get something from the fridge and whoops, just slips and falls right on the potato. You fricked the raw chicken, didn't you? He did. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. He fricked that raw chicken. We received a patient with horrible pain that felt like constipation. He couldn't poop and laxatives weren't helping. We soon found out that the blockage wasn't just constipation, it was a string of beads several meters long that had become tangled into an ugly ball inside. I had to snip it apart and carefully pull pieces of it out. When most of it was out, his asshole became a rocket engine with diarrhea as a propellant. Does this mean you are a rocket surgeon now? Please doc, you gotta help me. Something's wrong with me. but I'm sure the dozen of anal beads I crammed up my ass has nothing to do with it. Always avoid telling your doctor something embarrassing, so they have to run a bunch of possibly invasive tests only to discover it on their own. But hey, chicks dig scars. I live by the idea that you don't do anything you wouldn't want to explain to the paramedics, or try to at least. I've seen a small size Fanta orange soda can get pulled straight out of a man's rectum. Did you drink it? No, too bad it was empty. He drank it wrong. Y'all don't but chug soda? I once had a flatmate who was a nurse. She had a patient who came in complaining of stomach pains, which was caused by the cucumber he'd shoved up his butt a couple of days earlier. Apparently the smell caused by pickling a cucumber in your colon is extremely nasty. Forbidden ass pickle. I'm not a doctor, but my cousin is a colorectal surgeon. She's dealt with at least 2 people who've put light bulbs in their butts. Out of all the household items you could think of, why would a light bulb seem like a fine idea? Edit. If I see another bright idea comment, I'm going to shove a light bulb up my own ass. I'm in med school and have talked to a bunch of ER docs. We've determined that no one starts with a light bulb. They've just successfully retrieved every inanimate object prior. Not the butt, close to it. My sister worked in a urology clinic and has some very crazy stories ranging from at-home exchange procedures to this case in particular. She had to remove almost 200 BBs from a guy's bladder via his urethra one by one. As the guy had a fetish of shoving things down his urethra, looks like his BB gun was pump action. Nice clip size, though pretty slow fire rate. Don't shoot till you see the whites of their eyes. MD, but not a surgeon. On my surgery we had to remove a mini Nerf football from someone's butt. He kept apologizing and saying he wasn't gay. Later, the attending surgeon told us that it's always the straight guys coming in with stuff up their butts and they always try explaining that they aren't gay. I always love when they come up with a convoluted story about how the Facebook got there. One guy told me with a straight face that he was getting inside his car, naked, and he forgot there was an avocado on the seat. It's always an accident. They always fall onto Il Mayo. Everyone knows they did it for stimulation, but as professionals you have to pretend they are being serious. Unless you're my OBGYN attending who discovered a Coca-Cola bottle in a lady's rectum and started laughing at her. I don't know how it got their story. Not a surgeon, but as a former paramedic I brought them lots of business and feel qualified to chime in. I brought a guy to the hospital with severe abdominal pain and rectal bleeding. The dispatch nature was accidental injury, not life-threatening per patient. The chief complaint was I put something in my butt and can't get it out. Patient refused to elaborate on something. Delivered patient to the ED and was filling out my run report when the charge nurse came into the EMS room and said, "Come here. You have to see this." I followed her to the little X-ray alcove next to his room as a surgical orderly was wheeling him out of the room along with a nurse and the ED attending. The charge nurse flipped on the light board. Yes, I'm going old enough. X-rays used to be film-based, and I stared in confusion for a few seconds. I could make out the pelvis, both femurs, spine, etc., but there were other hard objects shown. She pulled down the first X-ray and put up the second, which is when I made out a small animal skull and I realized the other objects were bones as well. I looked over to the nurse and started, "Is that a rat?" She finished. Dude stuck a rat up his ass and was rushed to surgery because it chewed the it out of him, pun intended, before suffocating and had perforated his colon in multiple locations. He survived to discharge and is presumably still out there. My partner and I never did determine a method of administration, but I'm picturing one of those habit rail plastic tube cage setup things. Brave Sir Lemmiwinks. Not a surgeon, but a former anesthesia technician while in the army. I had a few interesting cases come through. Top 5, not in order. Light bulb. Not like a lamp light bulb, but one of those LED lightsaber bulbs that you see air traffic controller people using. 24-inch double-ended ribbed black dildo. That was a guy who had it stuck there. Soda can, Ken doll. This was actually removed from a woman's vagina. Half a baguette. Not a freaking clue how that happened, honestly. I've thought about it a lot and just never could figure it out. Not a freaking clue how that happened. Not chewing? Girl I know had suspected cervical cancer. Saw 2 different doctors before a specialist examined her surrounded by trainee doctors. Grabbed and pulled on what everyone thought was an inflamed, infected, tumorous cervix. It was a love egg. It had been in there for 3 months. 3 months. Holy frick. Yeah man. She was suffering from TSS and pains and things, but I can't imagine lasting that long without knowing. Did she not realize when? Yeah no, she put it in, and didn't take it out. She said she was drunk, but I don't know. Don't know what qualifies as weird anymore. Between myself and friends. Glass dildo. Vibrating dildo. Travel toothbrush holder. Campbell's soup can. Cucumber. Mag light. Cologne bottle. Sean John unforgivable het. Time capsule. Light bulb. Aerosol can cap. The honest one was literally nothing. Guy comes in complaining of something stuck up their butt by girlfriend. Doctor feels and nothing there. X-ray and CT scan says maybe something there. I don't feel anything. In the operating room I feel deeper and still nothing. Finally do a full colonoscopy and nothing there. A Campbell's soup can. Seriously? That person must have the Carlsbad caverns of anuses. The majestic beauty of a national park used to describe a man's anus. Delightful. Did he just have some air in there that was giving him discomfort? Or was it a case of the psychological phenomenon known as ghost dong presence? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button and leave a comment which story you liked the most. Subscribe and hit the bell notification for updates on our latest videos. And don't forget to check the links in the description box for more awesome content.